Another beautiful day to enjoy the supreme comforts of my vast, ancient wealth.
Hurry! Fill it faster before the master grows impatient with the temperature.
Ah, yes, the scent of imported lavender. Only the absolute finest for my morning wash.
Ah, perfectly roasted. A true meal fit for a man of my absolute status.
Everything the sun touches generates wealth that directly maintains my absolute comfort.
Hard work truly reaps the most magnificent rewards. Well, for me, at least. When water becomes too boring, one must find alternative ways to cleanse oneself. Wait, how do we even begin to measure our success against the future?
Today we buy status symbols, but ancient elites bought entire societies of worshippers.
True power isn't just about owning things, it is about owning the room. When you have this much currency, the people will gladly vote for your empire.
But Lakikbin, who is going to love the real stick figure inside the toga? Everyone wants a piece of my influence, every single day. Before dawn broke, hundreds of dependent clients lined up for the daily salutatio ritual.
Welcome, my loyal dependents. Step up and receive your daily honors.
Everyone wants a piece of my wealth, every single morning. Generosity wasn't just kindness, it was a loud public performance.
Ah, the sweet sound of bought and paid for adoration.
To maintain this immense influence, an elite needed to command the attention of thousands. Line up neatly. Everyone will get their small share of my favor today.
While we collect digital numbers today, Roman elites demanded literal oceans of real people. For elite Roman women, status wasn't just about wealth. It was about hair. These massive architectural hair structures required a literal army of servants. A single styling session could easily take upwards of 3 agonizing hours. Creating these towering hair monuments required back-breaking hours from multiple enslaved workers. For the wealthy woman, this was simply a routine, entirely unbothered by the chaos around her. Hours would slip away just to achieve the perfect, ridiculous standard of high society fashion.
Even our greatest historians wrote chapters just condemning these giant nests of hair. 37 volumes, and half of it is just complaining about elite fashion. But if you think Rome was obsessed with vanity, look at Egypt. For the ancient Egyptian elite, heavy makeup wasn't just a choice, it was a health requirement. A perfect line of coal a day keeps the dark spirits far away.
It is not just fashion, it shows my absolute devotion to the gods.
Let them stare. True elegance is completely lost on these barbarians. A new dawn rises over my estate, and my wealth grows ever larger. O divine sun, bless my daily trade and multiply my gold.
Is this truly the entire list of my mandatory taxes and offerings?
It is comforting to have our divine status symbols follow us everywhere.
I hope my personal God is pitching my wealth reports effectively up there. My cart breaks, it rains, and my protector deity is on a lunch break! Take the chicken! Take everything! Just fix my fortune immediately! If I build this ziggurat model, will you fix my luck next month? Great to finally connect with you, Marduk. Let's do big things. Keeping up these holy subscriptions is ruining my monthly budget.
Behold my humble city estate, a small token of my infinite status.
Why buy a regular home when you can hoard enough gold to buy a province?
The architecture doesn't need to be useful, Your Majesty, it just needs to impress them.
Whether in Egypt or Rome, the ancient ultra-wealthy loved displaying absolute power.
Is that all you are eating? Truly pathetic compared to my magnificent spread. First the appetizers, then the whole boar, and finally the peacock. Behold my culinary empire. Pour more wine and make sure it is perfectly chilled this time.
Look at me! This is where true nobility belongs, far above the rest.
Behold the appetizers. Do try not to drop them before the guests arrive.
Our master demands only the most unusual delicacies for tonight's grand feast.
Behold, dormice stuffed entirely with brains, the true mark of refined taste. And for the main course, a delicate sauce made purely from flamingo tongues.
Snails were fattened up with milk until they literally burst out of their own shells.
Nothing pairs better with fresh sea urchins than our finest, most expensive garum.
This legendary condiment was made by leaving fish intestines to ferment in the sun for months. Roman banquets were less about fine dining and more about pure shock value.
Welcome, friends! Prepare your eyes and stomachs for true luxury.
Hosts would wheel out entire spectacles, including live birds sewn inside roasted beasts. Every dish was a theatrical performance designed to shock the guests.
Pretend I am dead. Mourn me with true passion.
Roman intellectuals frequently wrote accounts criticizing this grotesque waste of wealth.
Every luxury, every artifact, and every asset was meticulously cataloged in grand records.
Connoisseurs would spend fortunes on single pieces of authenticated ancient craftsmanship.
Premium vintages from specific centuries were prized above almost all other commodities.
Is this the legendary vintage? There are literal chunks of slime floating in my cup. Drink up, my friends. Age gives it character. That is the taste of true history.
For the truly wealthy, every single piece of pottery was an opportunity to showcase immense fortune.
Look at these exquisite imports. Only the finest clay for my estate.
Wine for the favored guest, and simple water for the rest.
Why am I stuck with this cheap plastic trash while you get gold?
Welcome to my feast, where your true social status is served directly in your cup.
Your choice of cup instantly determined how the servants and peers viewed you. In ancient Egypt, the wealthy made sure their favorite provisions followed them forever. Even in eternity, deciding what to have for dinner remains an absolute nightmare. For the living elite, a proper meal required an absurd mountain of provisions. Fish, fresh figs, grapes, and pomegranates. Only the finest items made the cut. For the elite, a true feast required an endless flow of premium, high-status beer. These grand banquets combined music, dance, and sheer mass of food to showcase ultimate power. Because in the ancient world, nothing screamed high society quite like sheer, ridiculous abundance. For a wealthy Egyptian, the afterlife was just an endless extension of their daily buffet. Moving to ancient Greece, elite gatherings weren't held around boring conference tables. Instead, they debated philosophy, read scrolls, and strummed lyres over massive bowls of wine. Instead of working, wealthy Greek elites spent their nights throwing wine dregs at targets. While the lower classes built the empire by day, the wealthy played by night.
Welcome to Rome, where the spectacles were massive and the money was even bigger. We must add more garum, or the master will have us thrown to the beasts.
Pour more wine. Bring out the next course. Let it surprise my guests.
Roman elites demanded their food be as architectural as their monuments.
A true Roman banquet only ends when the floor is completely full.
For elite Romans, vomiting was simply a strategy to make room for more food.
Behold, my tables are never empty, no matter how much they consume. Witness the true king of the arena, where fortunes are made in seconds. Your entertainment, your lives, your very breath depends entirely on my boundless generosity. Let them scramble like animals for the scraps of my political favor. Nothing secures the adoration of the public quite like a bottomless pit of gold.
With this sacred decree, the family fortune transfers seamlessly to the next generation. Exotic beasts are shipped from the edges of the empire solely to entertain the elite. The crowd roared for blood, eager to see the ultimate price of entertainment. Exotic beasts imported from across the empire served as judges, juries, and executioners. Nothing demonstrated absolute power quite like orchestrating the collision of titans. Importing these ferocious beasts cost a literal fortune, but the Roman elites had endless gold.
Look at them cheer. Every beast on that sand was bought with my pocket change.
Wealth in the ancient world began here, at the ports, fueled entirely by endless slave labor. An intricate web of supply lines fed the insatiable appetite of Rome's elite spectacles. Every detail was meticulously planned to ensure maximum praise for the wealthy organizers.
Look upon this stone. My legacy is cemented in the foundations of Rome itself.
Public games are not just entertainment. They are the ultimate tool to purchase political devotion. Money funds the games, games secure the votes, and power generates more money in an endless cycle. Further east, wealthy Greeks preferred to flaunt their extreme riches by sponsoring grand theatrical masterpieces. In Greece, funding the arts wasn't just charity, it was a full-blown elite DAC measuring contest. Patrons hired the best actors to ensure their production outshone all rivals.
Because nothing says I am incredibly wealthy quite like financing a massive ancient soap opera.
Wealthy patrons spared no expense to command the grandest stages of the ancient world.
My production will completely eclipse all others at the festival. Victory is mine! True art requires an absolute fortune. Take it all! No rival sponsor can match the gold of my production.
True status is measured by how little one has to move.
Welcome, friends. Feast your eyes and bellies on the ultimate display of excess. Even with all this gold, I cannot buy a single moment of absolute silence.
They pay fortunes just to watch me turn these corners.
Now this is the true scale of Roman entertainment.
Nothing compares to the view from the absolute highest-priced seats in Rome.
The crowd pays fortunes to see blood, and I am expensive.
Mass entertainment was the ultimate tool for keeping the Roman public perfectly distracted. The superstar charioteers of Rome didn't just win races, they divided entire empires.
A fortune on the greens. They never lose on a track this dry.
With hundreds of thousands watching, these races were the ultimate playground for elite wealth.
A well-deserved payout for the finest speedster Rome has ever witnessed.
I am officially richer than the entire empire combined. Look at that! A mere performer possesses more fortune than our entire Senate.
A true Roman patrician does not even lift a finger to prepare his own day.
Public baths are for the masses. True nobility demands absolute solitude.
Your warmed alpine water, master, poured to perfection.
The ultimate symbol of Roman wealth lay in the absolute ownership of vast country estates.
Ensure the tenant farmers double their output by evening harvest.
A proper elite bath required a precise progression through 4 distinct environments.
A true gentleman never grooms himself when he can hire an army to do it.
Every object has its precise distance, and every slave has their precise circle.
Scraping away the dirt. Excellence takes effort, master. Make sure to scrape every last drop of that oil into the bowl. Freshly scraped today! Get your authentic champion oil right here! They're actually gonna rub my sweat on their faces, aren't they?
They treat my sweat like it belongs in a museum.
Grinding these ingredients takes all day for just one jar.
Wealthy Roman citizens spared no expense, coating their faces in exotic, toxic mixtures for beauty.
Behold the rarest treasures of the empire, harvested purely for our amusement.
In Egypt, maintaining royal beauty required an endless, exhausting supply of fresh donkey milk. Managing thousands of donkeys for milk production was an administrative nightmare.
Clear the way, ordinary citizens. Important business requires my attention.
While the masses lived in constant turmoil, the ultra-rich moved through a completely different world.
Carrying your own immense wealth around required its own physical fortitude. Careful with the folds, a proper aristocrat must look immaculate today.
Every crease and line was a deliberate message of status.
Every single step is calculated and restricted by law.
Status is maintained by refusing to react to the common chaos.
They run so we can stand perfectly still.
A proper toga requires precision and an army of dedicated assistants.
Perfect. Let the heavy layers represent my undisputed gravity in society.
Help! I am completely trapped in my own status symbol.
Having all this gold brings its own kind of heavy misery.
One wrong move and my whole fortune comes crashing down. Managing the public funds feels like a tightrope walk every single day. One bad shipping season or political misstep could instantly wipe out an entire fortune. When an emperor fell out of favor, your investments and status shattered overnight.
And just like that, everything you owned was stripped away by the state.
Wait! There must be some mistake. My fortunes cannot simply vanish.
Everything I built, stripped away in the blink of an eye.
For in ancient Rome, the higher your status, the more spectacular your ultimate fall.
Your mistakes cost more gold than you will ever see in your lifetime.
Hold steady down there. My entire status depends on your compliance. How can he sleep so soundly while I have all this capital to guard?
True wealth is not about owning the world, but mastering your mind within it.
Every storm, every law, every thief, they are all coming for what is mine. Get back! Hands off the Empire's treasury! It is mine! They are coming for my assets. I can feel the gaze of the state.
Every single coin must stay with me. They won't take a single denarius.
The endless paperwork. The tax codes are longer than the Empire itself. The legal audits are closing in on my estates. You cannot see my documentation. I am a citizen.
Meanwhile, in Egypt, the wealthy spent their entire lives preparing for death. Every single item for the afterlife had to be meticulously checked and logged. Securing a good spot in eternity required negotiating directly with the management.
In the end, you really could take it with you, provided you filed the right forms. Some spent their entire lives building literal monuments to their own ego.
Just a few more steps, and I will finally be above them all.
In ancient Rome, status wasn't just a feeling. It was a visible canyon between classes.
Welcome to my modest estate, where true luxury knows absolutely no limits.
A proper dinner requires a whole roasted pig, served exactly on time.
But in Rome, one single misstep could instantly ruin your entire social standing.